All right, good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever this finds you, gang. It is Conversations on Vitality. James Gardner, as always. Ariel Jarvis on the other side. Ariel.
Hello.
Hello. How are
Hello.
you, my dear? How are you?
I'm
Good.
good. I'm good. I'm pumped for today. Today's going to be a good topic.
Today is going to be a good topic, gang. For those of you tuning in, uh, all of us, we've all gone on a journey, and we've probably all been in a situation where uh, a significant person in our life perhaps is on a different page and maybe isn't giving us the support, or maybe doesn't understand the journey that's taking place within each of us. So what we're going to talk about today with Ariel is we see this a lot, especially in the health world. People start on a health journey and a wellness journey, and we're going to share some insights, some tips, some tricks, and some hacks, basically to get you that support from a loved one, from a family member, whatever it may be, so that you are setting yourself up for success on your journey. All right, Ariel. So in the clinic, people come in, and a lot of people come in to start a health journey, sometimes for the first time, but a lot of times to start again. Let's have a discussion.
So I want to think of your health journey as like a roadmap, right? So when you have a GPS and all of a sudden you take a wrong turn, what happens? We reroute that roadmap. So I don't like to use the term fall off the wagon or feel ashamed or like you did something wrong. You just took a wrong turn. That's okay. Mistakes happen and we're going to reroute, but you're still going to get to the end destination. It just might take an extra minute or two, right? And so it has a lot to do with when it comes to clients coming in, I will see leaders and followers. And I want you to know that everybody is on a different journey. And so sometimes I'll have an individual from the family come in. Maybe they have little kids at home. Maybe they have a partner at home or a spouse. And the family is not ready to make the change. But you have one leader from the family who's ready to make the change for themselves, right? And so we can't just all of a sudden expect the whole family to do a 180, right? So if you're that person and you're ready to make that change and you don't want to lose your motivation or, have to constantly be rerouting or things like that, then we have some little hacks that you can do to kind of maximize your goals and be able to follow through with those goals without feeling bad or without feeling like you're pushing your goals on other people. Okay. And so, these are little things that, take it or leave it. But, some people, they have a pantry. And in the pantry are usually little treats that you think about, when you're sitting at home working at your desk and all of a sudden you get that 3 to 4 crash. And you're like, oh my goodness, I need a sugar fix. Or, but you've told yourself you're eliminating sugar. Or maybe you're eliminating gluten or dairy or alcohol, right? So just certain things that you feel are not serving you in this season of life right now. And so when you're going to make a change, there's something called the withdrawal aspect. And so studies have proven and research has proven that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And so if you have it in the house, it's going to taunt you. And sometimes willpower is not enough. So I call it the lock and key method. So you literally have to put on, just like you would a bike lock, if you don't want your bike to be stolen. But what about your goals? What if you don't want your goals to be stolen? So you literally can actually put all the treats that you're not supposed to have in the pantry and then put a bike lock on it. And only certain people that are not on the same page as you get to have the code. Some people, maybe it's just a bag of cookies in the house. Maybe your partner loves cookies or loves little treats like that, and you're like, I can't have those in the house because I'll go and eat those things. Or maybe it's wine, or maybe it's whatever that might be. So having a safe in the house with the partner knowing the code and you don't know the code. So sometimes we have couples that come in or individuals coming in, and they're the type of person where they don't know how to stop. They binge until it's all gone. And then there's some partners where they can have it in the house and they can have like their little treats and they can savor it and they can enjoy it and then they can leave it for a week. Or maybe their treats go moldy because they only enjoy a little bit of it, but it's sitting there and it's taunting the other partner. And so you still want that one partner to be able to have their little treats, but you don't want the other partner to be over consuming and self-sabotaging and, being upset with themselves because they have no self-control because they're going through that withdrawal aspect, right? Mm-hmm. And so the longer you go through the withdrawal, the easier it gets. But sure, there is a 2-week period where you might have to bring in some new tools. And so I tell people, if you have a safe in the house, use the safe, use the lock on the pantry, right? Let's say you're at a barbecue or something like that. Meal prep is so important. Bringing something that you can enjoy, that keeps you in alignment with your goals, but that you can also share, right? So if you're going somewhere, don't show up empty-handed because you're setting yourself up for failure. Show up with things that you can enjoy too, so that you feel like you're a part of the group. And same when it comes to serving dinner. Have things that you can enjoy so that you're part of the group, and everyone else can have what they enjoy, but you get to have your things too. So some of my favorite substitutions would be, instead of doing like potatoes, maybe swap for like a salad and some buckwheat. Or, a lot of people, it's the starches and carbs, or because they're doing more of a high protein, high veggie diet, and they're really trying to eliminate the sugars, right? So making sure you have your food prep put into place. Or maybe it's, for some people, it's alcohol. So maybe bringing in an elixir. I always bring an elixir everywhere I go. Or I'll bring in sometimes I'll bring in little bubblies, right? And then you can put your stevia drops in there, and then you get to feel like you're having something. Well, maybe it's not the fact that it's in a can. Maybe you want to have it in a wine glass, like all the other ladies on wine night. Well, then you can literally dye your bubbly. So I will pick up a couple bubblies, put some stevia drops in there. I'll bring a wine glass. I'll pour that in the wine glass, and then I'll take a little bit of raspberries, and I'll squish them, and I'll put them in the wine glass so it's bright pink. And then you just feel like you're having wine with all the ladies, right? So just little things like that, and you can find your own way home because you didn't overindulge in the drinking. So just little hacks that you can do. That's something that goes a long way.
So this kind of lock and key method and these hacks, and so, because you use the term partner, like, your people that are on the same page have the access code and things like that. So I think it's important, like, maybe you would take a step back and say, let's talk about communication. Let's talk about, hey, I want to go on a health journey. My partner may not understand that or be as supportive as I would like. Because I know you've seen this in your clinic. And so from your perspective, what would you offer to the community out there at large that are tuning in right now that are dealing with that? They don't feel like they have the support they need to be effective with their goals.
2 things: compromise, communication, so that you can gain control. Okay, so we always want to make sure that we have open communication with our strengths and weaknesses when we're doing a new goal with the family, just so that people can help keep you accountable in a loving manner, and also to help them understand why you're doing what you do. Right? And then that will help you gain control as well, because now people are supporting you on your journey, even though it's not something that they are actively doing as well in this season of life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, you talked about the why, and I say this in the work that I do. I don't care who's out there on a health journey, wellness journey, spiritual gangster, whatever it is, whatever the work that they need to do, it has to be deeply connected to a story behind it. That story is what I feel most people skip over. Yeah, they want to get in the size 2 jeans. Yeah, they want to lose weight for a wedding, or whatever it is, right? But they don't take time to flesh out the story behind that. Because that story is then what creates that relatability to their partner. This is what I want to do so I can live this way, which will then impact us and make our lives richer, or whatever it is, right? Make us, will bring us closer together. whatever that is, I think that's the thing, because you talked about communication. Communication is the first line of defense in anything.
Yeah.
Right. And so seeking that that active listener from your partner, I think is huge. And I think you even said taking ownership to champion what you want. And really, this is it. Like, this is, I think the first step is people really taking ownership over their own journey, and asking for what they want from their partner. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people think like, oh, but I communicate. Then communicate harder, because there's a lot lost in translation. And you also need to understand what you're communicating to yourself. So whenever someone comes in and they tell me their goals, I say, but why? Why is this important to you? I get them to rethink why. Is it just because you saw it on social media, or someone you think it's cool, or you think it's going to make you what? Happier, enjoy life, be more present, have more control over your health and maybe your blood sugar, maybe your energy, maybe your cognitive ability, your focus. Maybe it's going to help you with creativity. Maybe it's going to help you in your business. Maybe it's going to help you connect more with your partner or with your kids, or maybe you'll play better, right? You'll have more fun and more play ability, because now you can chase your kids around because you don't have that extra 100 pounds. Like, there's so many factors, right? And so I always ask people, what's your why? And that's your focus. It's not about losing weight or getting rid of the arthritis or being able to get out of a wheelchair. Cool, those things are great, but why? And that's what fuels your fire.
That's right. And the why, getting clear on that why, is what brings your partner closer into the journey with you. And to be honest, we have to ask for support. We all need help, and we need help from a practitioner, and we also need help from our significant others and people in our lives. We as humans are not designed to be solo people in all aspects of life. It's not the way we were designed.
And communication can be so powerful because it's a way of transporting information and education into your environment, into the people that are around you, and they're observing you, and you never know who's watching, and you never know who's on that cusp of wanting to make a change for themselves. And now all of a sudden you've lit their fire. Remember, I said there's leaders and followers. And so if they see that your life is improving by cutting out X, Y, and Z, you never know who will all of a sudden be your biggest supporter and who will want to take on that challenge as well.
Yeah. And I think, in the coaching world, we talk about making a collective change, to the world at large. And really that's the way to do it, is lift yourself up, and then indirectly someone else takes notice and lifts themselves up. And then before you know it, everyone's lifted up, and we make, we facilitate a change for the better.
You cannot tell me that people don't want to elevate their life. People don't want to be happy. They don't want to be successful in whatever thing, lights their fire. They don't want to be X, Y, and Z. Like, they want that. They just don't have the motivation behind it, and their why isn't big enough. But when you're actually present with yourself and you're looking at your life in the full spectrum, and you're content with everything going on, that's great. But if there are little things that you're like, I'm very disappointed in that, or I wish I could do this, or I wish I would do that, I always tell people that failure is, I would rather have 100 failures than have regret.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
That's just me personally. So, and I see it in clients all the time. I'm like, so what if you try and fail? You just learned something new. Your toolbox just got bigger.
Yeah. It's just switching the perception of it. Absolutely. Sorry. I will say not, and I'm just going to offer this because in the work that I do with coaching and personal business development, and of course health and wellness, as you know, for many years, Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I will say that when people do not have partners that are on the same page when it comes to journeys, entrepreneurial, health, wellness, whatever, 9 times out of 10, you don't get the goals that you want to get.
It makes the road a lot more challenging, and it
Yeah.
takes a very particular type of person to be able to push through, because there's something magical that happens when you and your partner are aligned with your business, with your health, with your kids, all that sort of stuff. And if you're not, then it's a little bit of an uphill battle. It can be done, but it makes it so much more challenging.
It does. And you know what? Here's just to flip the conversation for a second, because we're talking from the perspective of a client that is taking the stand for their own health. Now, in a lot of times, it's the person that sees their other partner who desperately needs to take action, but they won't.
Yes.
And again, a lot of what we're talking about is the same for them in terms of conversation and helping their partner find the why to even get off the couch. But I think that's an important thing to discuss too.
Yes. And realizing that it's just part of the process. In order to grow, you have to have growing pains. So don't be afraid of pain. And a lot of people, they run from pain, and it's just part of the process, right? It's a little bit of a mind battle that you have to go through, but it's only temporary. It's not permanent. And it's literally to build your character and build who you are as a person so that you have more depth to you. That's really it, right? So don't be afraid of pain. It's only temporary.
Well, and break pain down to a simplistic state. I mean, pain is what has to happen to facilitate growth. Whether you're in the gym or whether you're trying to lose weight or build a business, right? It's the sweat equity pain, however you want to label it, is actually needed to grow.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I think too, a lot of, in your world, in terms of health and wellness, a lot of it is habitual. A lot of it is an emotional response.
Yeah.
People have been doing it for years. So meaning Ariel and I as professionals, know that it's not easy. It's not simple for a lot of people to, facilitate a lifestyle change. But it takes work, right?
But it does get easier, right?
Does.
So it's like a muscle. So the more you practice it, the more you push through the, few weeks of change, you all of a sudden evolve and you adapt to your environment, right? And so it does get easier. And then you're ready for the next challenge. And what that does is it actually improves and increases your trust within yourself, and your confidence goes up because you start to learn that you are capable and that you can do it. And then you start to learn faster, more effective ways to maximize your day-to-day tasks and be able to add in more things. All of a sudden now you're getting up a little earlier. You're able to get out the door a little earlier. All of a sudden, instead of putting, sugar and cream in your coffee, now you're drinking maybe just a little bit of oat milk. Like, you're just making these little changes that go a long way.
Yeah, and I just want to bring in for a moment, make sure we got time. Okay, we're getting close. Bring in for a moment. When we start to, like, as you started this with some really cool little tips and tricks in terms of, lock and key and going out with faux wine juice and how to set yourself up for success. Those are fun ways. Those are creative ways. And Ariel, with the work that I do with the inner child, I'm all about the inner child. It's how do we find and recreate that fun, even in an environment where it's like, I'm dieting, I'm losing weight, I'm not eating the things. Well, there's ways to spin that story and create that kind of inquisitive curiosity that children all have at their disposal, that you can have at any age, and apply it to those conversations, apply it to partnering, to be supportive, to make those changes, to go out, as you were saying, at a party and not feel insecure because you're carrying your own little makeshift toolkit of how to get through the night, like whatever.
Yeah. And a lot of times it just, people fall into the constant habitual, and all of a sudden you bring something new to the table and now you're the popular kid, everyone's like, oh, what are you drinking? What's that? What's this? Whenever I go to an event or a social event, people love like asking me, what did I bring? Because it's different, right?
Yeah.
And then they learn something new and then they go home and try it. And if it works, great. If not, they still tried it, right? So people will actually, you'd be surprised the response you get from people.
And that is a super important thing, because people out there that are doing this, that are on a journey, they need to take ownership over their own energy towards what they're doing. It can't be a chore. It can't be a task to, oh my God, yeah, I'm drinking this wine, this water with squeezed raspberries in it, no. Right? Because people, if the energy is high frequency in your behavior around all that you're doing, that's where people go and they attract to that. And that's how you facilitate change and inspire people.
Absolutely. We're drawn to energy, right?
Yeah.
So if people see that your life is elevating because of these changes, naturally people will gravitate towards that, right? That's why we gravitate to positive, happy people, right?
That's right.
So that's just how we are, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess just to circle back, at the end of the day, a health and wellness journey does not have to be doom and gloom, right? No, it can be fun. I mean, we just have to create that story around it for sure. Yes. Right? So, okay. Amazing. Ariel, we know you provide people with insight, you provide people with a plan, with a strategy, with support. And let's not forget, for anyone out there coming into or going into your world for even the very first time to meet you and see you, you can also offer them creative, supportive ways to have these discussions with the people that matter most in their world, which will then set them up for success.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Learning that language with yourself and with your the members of your family, so that you can have the best experience possible, with vitality. Amazing. And with yourself. So, yeah.
And we owe it to ourselves, gang. We owe it to ourselves. So, for all of you out there, this is the time. This is the time. It doesn't matter if you've had 10 failed weight loss treatments. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, right? Now it's all about now, in this moment going forward.
Yeah.
As Ariel said, as I said, connect to the why, though. Super important, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Ariel, you're amazing. People that, of course, free consultation, get in touch. The website is on the show notes here. Come in, talk to Ariel. Don't forget to hop on over to YouTube, like and subscribe our YouTube channel there, Vitality Wellness on YouTube. All the videos are on there, including some other things that Ariel's done in the past, podcasts, things like that. Ariel, how about a good word to take us out?
Well, no matter where you're coming from, you can always turn your mess into a message. So it's really important that no matter what is happening around you, it's not happening to you, but for you.
That's right.
And so that will be very clear in the future.
Beautiful said. Beautifully said. Great. Turn your mess into a message. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much. And everyone out there, we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Bye.